right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Today is July 7th, and the Yankees were taking on the Red Sox in Game 3 of a 3-game set, and Luis Gil was on the mound trying to pick up win number 10 and buck a trend of poor performances. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Terrence, how you doing, man?
Not great. Honestly, Yankees, since I've been on the show, they haven't been playing all that well. So we'll get into that. But yeah, overall, the vibes on this team, it ain't it right now.
Yeah, fast game tonight. Quick game. Time flies when you're hitting ground outs to second base. Tonight's game reminded me of a game. It might have been before you were born. When were you born?
I was born on June 18th, 2000.
So this game happened 20 days before you were born. Yankees Red Sox, May 28th, 2000. Roger Clemens versus Pedro Martinez. Sunday night baseball, just like tonight. I remember I was watching it in bed, like you said you watched it in bed. That's why you look like Heath Ledger's final photo tonight. But Clemens had 13 strikeouts. Pedro pitched a shutout and struck out 9. Red Sox won that game 2-0. Tell you how good Pedro was. That game lowered his ERA to 1.05. He finished the season with 1.74 ERA. I had to look it up. Hell of a pitching duel tonight. Luis Gil was good. Cutter Crawford was better. He had a lot of very, very easy innings. Offense continues to be Jekyll and Hyde. We'll talk about that. 14 runs yesterday, nothing today. And yet they continue to pitch to Rafael Devers. So I think you got to make him uncomfortable at some point. A little up and in.
Yeah. Actually, you just mentioned that the first homer he hit, the Oppo one. I wanted that pitch up and in. I think Gil just missed it, and that was a ball that, like, they said this on the broadcast, but the flags just had died down while the ball was in the air, and it just kind of sailed out. So I feel like there was maybe a little bit of unluckiness there. The second one, that was a homer, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That wind was not keeping that one in the ballpark, man.
Yeah. But the first one, just a bit unlucky there. But yeah, I wanted that pitch up and in right after a filthy changeup low and away. I said it out loud. I was like, okay, now heater up and in, and he just missed it. He just left it over the plate. And Devers, it's funny. This rivalry is kind of dead right now, but I guess it's been reanimated a little bit lately. But I've heard that question, like, who do you hate on the Red Sox? Like, how do you even hate the Red Sox as a Yankee fan right now? I hate Rafael Devers. I hate that guy so much. I still hate the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him as a human being, but I hate having to play against him. I hate that he's in our division. Yeah. He's just so good. But let's talk a little bit about one of the positives tonight. Luis Gil looked fantastic again. We saw shades of his last time out for the first 3 innings where he was really good. We saw shades of the guy who started off 9-1, but he gets the loss because Aaron Boone left him in the game too long. He was efficient. Velocity was back. He had a bunch of 99s. I'll actually put up the StatCast numbers real quick here. He had 15 swings and misses. You see, he was the top pitch velocity for both teams multiple times, 99.3, 99.2. Just a really, really good night. Changeup was wicked. Slider was wicked. It wasn't until Rafael Devers took him deep in the top of the 7th that anybody got to him. I think there's a case to be made that the Yankees should have gotten him out of there after the 6th inning. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think you could make that case, and they're definitely going to ask Boone about that in the presser after the game, I'm sure. I wasn't really mad about it, just to try to save the bullpen a little bit. And like I said, that first homer up to Devers was a little bit unlucky. I think that he definitely could have gotten through that inning clean if, that one pitch, if he executed that a little bit better and went up and in. So that's a Monday morning quarterback kind of thing. Obviously, it doesn't look great because he gave up the home run, but I think that I wasn't mad about sending him back out there. I was a little surprised. I didn't think they would, but it wasn't like, oh God, like it definitely, I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's see, let's ride it a little bit. Good for his confidence. Trying to see, I guess, what his limit is like. Cause what was he, around 100 pitches tonight when they took him out? So
he ended up throwing, let's see, 96 pitches, but he was at 86 pitches through 6 innings. But the point they made was that he finished off with the 99-mile-an-hour fastball. He had it was a really tough at bat. He had this, energetic, like pumped up animation on the mound, and a lot of times when guys do that, it kind of expels that energy, and then they struggle the next inning. I think about the 2003 ALCS Game 7 when Grady Little left Pedro in too long. He had told him he was coming out of the game, and then they put him back in there. So he was already mentally checked out. I think that Luis Gil was told, hey, look, get this guy or you're coming out. And so he assumed he was probably out, and then he went out for the next inning and, of course, served up the home run. He did get 2 quick outs, but, I felt like, I wouldn't have had a problem with them going to Luke Weaver at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. Like I said, I think that was they're just trying to squeeze a little bit more out of him just to try to save a guy in the bullpen. I understand the logic. I'm not going to kill Boone for it. You could make the argument that he was left in there for too long, especially since he gave up the home run. But like I said, that home run wasn't really that was like a ball that just kind of kept sailing. I thought it would maybe be a warning track, but it's amazing too because like the Yankees had Oswaldo Cabrera and Judge had like 2 shots that just died on the warning track where I thought that they were going out, and that ball just like a ball that had no business going out, especially in Death Valley out there in Yankee Stadium, just went out. So that's baseball, Susan. I don't really know what else to say about it other than that. It just, like I said, Monday morning quarterback a little bit with that decision, but I was kind of, you could go either or for that one.
Let's talk about our offense, which is awful. I'm at a loss for why this team can't hit. I consider myself a pretty good baseball analyst, and I've been watching baseball for a long time. Rice, Soto, and Judge all have OPSs over 900. Everyone else in the lineup is under 700. I can't explain why. Volpe has fallen off so hard that it would not surprise me if he hits 209 again. Gleyber Torres completely forgot how to hit this year. Cabrera is nowhere near as dangerous as he was when he first got called up. Grisham stinks. LeMahieu stinks. Judge has not been getting the big hit lately. We should talk about that. A lot of people are upset with Judge. I can think of a handful of occasions in the last several weeks where he's had a chance to break the game, and he's grounded out, he's popped out, he's struck out. He has not been clutch lately. I'm not saying he's not clutch because he did walk off 3 games in the 22 season. He's hit some playoff home runs, but he's also had some tough times in the playoffs. So maybe it's time to start having the conversation. Is he the guy in a big spot? It's hard to watch, man. Any thoughts?
I'm not going to kill Judge. Judge is Judge. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I get your point. There are some times where he doesn't maybe come through in the clutch, but I think as Yankee fans, and Derek, you probably experienced this because you were about my age during the 90s dynasty, right? So, I mean, you have a little bit of like Derek Jeter syndrome, literally Captain Clutch, and Mariano syndrome, where it's just like one of the clutchest Yankees we've seen in the last 50 years come through the big leagues. And same thing when Mariano comes in, the game's over. We can get into Claim Holmes later. But yeah, I just think that it's a weird conundrum, and this seems to happen a lot with Yankee teams. I think that if this season, if they kind of flame out like previous Yankee teams, this is the last year of Aaron Boone's contract. I think that the first thing that they're probably going to address is the manager, just because that is the easiest switch to make on a team rather than like changing the entire roster. But yeah, they need some sort of spark. Rice gave them that spark with the 3-homer game, definitely, but they're definitely starting to see a little bit of little lackluster. Well, I feel like it's the dog days of summer, and we're not even in August. It's not even the All-Star break yet.
So, first of all, let me take issue with you saying I was in my 20s during the 90s dynasty. How old do you think? I know I'm bald now, but I'm not that freaking old.
You're in your 40s, right?
I turned 17 in 2000.
Okay.
So
you were a teenager.
Yeah, I was a teenager. So, but yeah, I think Boone, if the Yankees collapse, is a goner. I think that they could actually hire Alex Cora, which I would have no issue with. He's a good manager. He always gets his teams to hustle. You don't see the lackadaisical problems. And if they do, they trade the guy like they did with Verdugo to us. Let's talk a little bit about one of the possible replacements that we could see. Yorbit Vivas has turned it around in June and July, 793 OPS in June, 1.081 so far in July. He's got 7 hits in his last 21 at-bats. 4 of them have been extra bases, 3 for a double, 1 for a home run. His on-base percentage on the season is now up over 401. So he's an on-base machine. We could use somebody to get on base and have good at-bats with a sweet left-handed swing. I know DJ doubled tonight, but he has not looked good. He also had a soft ground out. I call him Groundzilla. You know, like we had Godzilla, he's Groundzilla. Yeah. Oswaldo had a hit tonight, but he hasn't been great. You know, Glaber's had the groin issue. I think there's room in the infield for him. But, you know, if so, who does he replace? Jahmai Jones, maybe? You know, do they DFA Davis and call him up? But I think he's ready for a promotion. Thoughts?
Oh, I definitely want to see. Okay, so I was talking to you a bit about this in like the green room over text and stuff, but something that the Yankees do is they rot their prospects so much because they don't let these guys play. And we see it with Ben Rice. Why'd you sign JD Davis? Why? You know what JD Davis is. You don't know what Ben Rice is. You don't know what his ceiling is. I know what JD Davis is as a major league player. At this point, I know what Gleyber Torres is as a major league player. I pretty much know what Oswaldo is, but like I like his versatility on the infield, so there is value in that. DJ, I've said this many times. I know that he wanted $90 million, and that the Yankees thought they were smarter than everybody by stretching it over more years to have less average annual value. And I was like, too many years. I wanted next year to be his last year, because if DJ's last year was next season, I'd be okay with that. But the fact that it's 2 more years after this, and I believe it's $24 million on the contract left, that's brutal. That sucks. And then for, I guess, Yorbit, for him to get playing time, I've sat here. I'm ready to punt Gleyber Torres to the sun. I don't want to see him anywhere near this team anymore. I'm pretty much over it. The lack of hustle has really bothered me. He hasn't played well. That's obvious. But I know what Gleyber Torres is. And you might as well try to trade him at the deadline. And I know you're not going to get anything for him, but we got Clayton Beater for Joey Gallo. So if I can get at least a minor league arm for him, rather than lose him for nothing at the end of the season and just let him walk in free agency, why not do that? And just put Yorbit Vivas in there, because, like, are you really going to lose that much? What if Yorbit Vivas is just like Gleyber Torres is right now? Then at least you got an arm out of it, right? And a lefty bat.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's get to the recap.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
So there's not a whole lot to recap in this one. Wind was blowing in, kind of kept Judge in the park in the first inning. 112 miles an hour off the bat, ended up getting caught on the warning track by Jarren Duran. Both pitchers combined for 15 total pitches in the second inning, so it was, very, very efficient work from the pitchers early on. First 5 innings were done in about an hour. One thing that I didn't mention about Luis Gil was how good his slider was. I thought his slider was throwing really good, really, really well. He wasn't dragging his arm. He wasn't missing up and arm side with the fastball, so he didn't look as fatigued physically. So whatever they did, whatever adjustment he made, it worked. Everyone thought that he was done after the 6th inning. He finished it off with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and a strikeout. He showed lots of emotion. He was at 87 pitches. I didn't hate bringing him back out because he was throwing the ball well, but you knew the end was near. I was kind of surprised they let him face Devers a final time. Bottom 6, DJ smoked a double off the right field wall. Best swing and most pop he has shown all season. Devers took heel deep with 2 outs in the 7th, and then heel was done 6 2/3, 4 runs, 1 run, no walks, 9 strikeouts. The command was impressive. He dotted a lot of pitches on the outside corner. Soto led off the 7th with a hustle double on a ball into the right field gap, but Judge struck out. Judge not hitting well right now in the clutch. Verdugo grounded out, and then Volpe lined out to left field. Volpe has really, really struggled, man. What are you seeing from Volpe?
Yeah, he's kind of like really fallen off. I mean, baseball is a game of adjustments, so he came out of the gates. He made adjustments over the offseason, clearly. Came out the gate really hot, and then teams started getting more tape on him, and they made adjustments. So now it's kind of like, what are you going to do? Are you going to make another adjustment? Is it just me? He seemed a little, his timing seems off. They had a shot. They did the ump cam, with like the GoPro behind home plate, and then you could see Cutter Crawford. He comes in with the cutter, and he just seemed late on it, honestly. Like, I don't know if that's approach, if he's not looking for the right pitch, but his mechanics just seemed late. Maybe try to look at. Also, he hasn't hit a home run in like a really long time, and I'm not looking for home runs from Volpe. I'm not, but it is something to definitely like pay attention to.
David Ishikawa says, guys, it's obvious what has to happen to get Judge going again. We got to get him tossed again. We got to get him thrown out of the game again.
Yeah. I don't think that'll ever happen again, honestly.
Yeah. So Red Sox went up 2-0 on a home run by Rafaela in the 8th. No doubter off of Luke Weaver. And then Devers made it 3-0 with his second home run of the game. Another no doubter. Maybe just walk guys who have Rafael as part of their name. Yankees drop a tough one.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. If you ain't first, you're last.
Over 1,000 watching live, including Twitter, 837 on YouTube. Reminder to subscribe. We're on a mission for 50,000. Go ahead and hit the like button. Terrence is our West Coast representation. He joins me every once in a while. So, TK, what are your thoughts on this team as we head into an off day? Just at large, we got a few weeks till the trade deadline. Can we salvage this thing?
I think we can salvage. I'm not going to sit here and say that the season's over. I'm not ready to give up on this team. It's just stupid to do so. This baseball as a whole, as a league, is not a very good league. There aren't a whole lot of good teams. A lot of teams make the playoffs, and I'm going to give you the whole spiel of the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Philadelphia Phillies. They got hot at the right time, and they made a run, and why, I guess it's always going to be why not us, but I understand that the Yankees also have like different expectations. We haven't won since 2009. Every year that we don't win, the pressure gets a little bit higher. But I will say this: I definitely think that if they peter out and they kind of like flame out in the first round of the playoffs, I don't see how Aaron Boone gets brought back. And I'm not even going to sit here and say he's a bad manager. He'll get hired somewhere else. Definitely, he'll definitely get another job. But that doesn't mean that he needs to continue to be the Yankees manager. I don't know why that argument is made.
Let me. You just made a great point that I want to build on. There's this movie called Miracle, and the hockey coach, played by Kurt Russell, he's putting together the team, and he's leaving off a lot of the big name players, right? And somebody in the room in the scouting office or whatever says, "Hey, you're not even taking the best players." And he says, "I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right one." I don't know if Boone is a good manager or a bad manager. Everybody within the Yankees seems to think he's a good manager. The league seems to respect him as a manager. I don't know if he's the right manager.
Exactly.
You understand where I'm saying? I think that we need somebody because the team at large is kind of calm natured. They're not like a lot of really intense people. Mm-hmm. I need a really intense manager. I need somebody. I need a Piniella. I know he's too old, but somebody of that ilk.
I don't know if that exists anymore, dude.
I know. I've heard some people talk about Joe Madden. Possibly he's out there. Yeah. He won with the Rays, but again, he's old. He's old. He's kind of like a hippie type too. I don't know if he would be that much of a change in. We need to add some spice to the sauce, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, frankly, I don't know. Maybe there's a guy who's like a minor league manager that'll get a shot that nobody even knows about. I guess that is possible. That's definitely you're taking a chance if you do that.
Yeah, but I don't want to give the Yankees to a frickin' first-time manager. I mean, we did that with Boone. What about Girardi? What about bringing Girardi back?
I don't even think this is gonna sound weird, but I don't even think Girardi would take that job.
Yeah, he likes it.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of. I just don't think that he wants that kind of like stress in his life anymore. Michael Kay has said this. Like, he is a totally different person because he's so like emotionally involved and invested in it that he gets like so wound up. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with manager, but I definitely think that a change will happen. Like, okay, if the Yankees go to the ALCS and they get bounced in the ALCS, that will be really tough. But I think the Yankees should move on, just because clearly there hasn't been an improvement since he was hired. We went to Game 7 of the ALCS with Girardi. We haven't been back to that point in the season since. So I would move on. But just because I know how the Yankees operate, they won't. They won't do it. But if they get bounced in like the wild card round or the ALDS, or God forbid they don't even make the playoffs, then yeah, he's definitely gone. Just because they don't even have to fire him, they're just like, we're not bringing him back.
F. Saminsky makes a good point. He says, it feels like we have this conversation every year about Boone and Cashman. That shouldn't be the case. They don't talk about firing, Alex Cora every year in Boston, right? They don't. It's just a mess. This whole organization, it feels like there's something infecting the ecosystem. I don't know what it is. We got too many base running mistakes. We got too many lazy players. We got like too many guys that just are not hitting in the clutch. Too many low batting averages. There's something fundamentally wrong, and I feel like everything is being thrown off kilter because of it. Take a few more comments here. Mark Stenrose says Girardi would be good. I think he likes his broadcast gig, and I think that's my favorite booth right now is Girardi, Kay, and O'Neill. Those three are great together. It used to be Cone, Kay, and O'Neill, but I feel like Girardi's better than Cone.
Yeah, I like Girardi, honestly. I even like when the Todd father gets on there. He did a couple games. He's good. I like him when he's in the booth.
He's a great guy. I know him very well. We talk every day. He is like a super chill guy, but he's really, really baseball smart. Yeah. I wouldn't put him on the category of somebody who's gonna like fire up a team. He seems like he's kind of light natured as well, too, right? He's a jokester. He likes to laugh and have fun.
Dude, I remember when we got him in 2017, I was so happy because I knew exactly the kind of element that we were adding to the room. You know what I mean? So that's a guy I'd love to pick his brain sometime and talk about baseball, but because he's really knows the game well. He's been with a lot of different organizations, so he's seen a lot of different ways that it's done, a lot of different ways that you can build the wheel, I guess you can say. But I totally think that it is kind of weird. I know this is New York. I get it, but I think it is kind of weird that since Boone was hired, we're like, we don't know if he's the right guy, and there's always conversation about him about maybe moving on. And then look, guys, Cashman is Steinbrenner the third. He's never getting fired. I've kind of accepted that reality. I think what will eventually happen, he'll retire and take some sort of like advisement role in the organization, and they'll hire a new GM, or maybe he'll become president. And who is it? Levine will step down. He'll take his job, and then they'll hire a GM. I wanted Theo Epstein.
Yeah, me too, man.
I wanted him so bad. And I was like, my pitch to him was like, you slayed the dragon in Boston. You slayed the dragon in Chicago. Come slay the dragon in New York and become a legend. And if he didn't take that job, I wanted him to be commissioner. But then the Red Sox got him again. So, they're going to be back. But I wanted him so badly. But I think he wanted a piece of the team to be GM again. Like he wanted ownership. So I don't know, maybe that's not, but they're just so loyal to Cashman. And I just think that an easy fix, hire Aaron Judge's personal hitting coach, hire his personal hitting. He said that the Yankees apparently have horrendous offensive development in the minor leagues.
Well, the minute he said that, Ben Rice hit 3 home runs, right? He like the very next day. I really believe the Martian can hit. I'm more worried about them screwing these guys up at the major league level, because Oswaldo Cabrera came up and he could hit, right?
Yeah.
When Peraza first came up, he hit 300 over his first stretch, but he fell off the face of the earth. Gary Sanchez regressed. I'm more concerned that they're teaching something at the major league level that is not good. Let me read a quick super chat before you chime in. The Earl of Demise with $20 says Rafael Devers in a rubber game against historic rival, 2 home runs, including the game winner. Aaron Judge, historic rival, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He's not slumping right now. He's historically not good against the Sox and Astros. You're not wrong, but I have seen him come through against the Astros and the Sox both before. I remember he hit that big home run in the 9th off of, was it, who was their closer a few years back? Oh, I forget. Was it Kimbrel? Yeah, it was Kimbrel. He hit that home run to center field late in the game. Yeah. He went off against him in the 18 playoffs. He's been a big time player before in clutch moments, but he's right. Recently, he hasn't done much in the clutch.
No, but also another guy you're talking about who regressed in the major league. Could you say Volpe? I mean, Volpe was having really good numbers in the minor leagues. I know he was never really a power hitter, but his average was better.
He was never really an average hitter either. He hit about 250, 260 in the minors with some power and some stolen bases. I expected him to be about a 240 hitter last year, and he was not good. This year, I expected him to be about a 250 hitter, and that's what he's doing. I was hoping he could hit 270 for a while there early in the season. He was hanging around 290, 300, but he's really fallen off. Yankees have not stolen a base in 20 games now, and Volpe was the last guy to do it. They're just not playing baseball right now. They're sitting back and waiting for the home run, which is what they do every year, and quite frankly, I'm just getting tired of it. Let's get some final thoughts here.
Kimbrel, come on, bro. Kimbrel's probably a top 10 closer to ever play the game.
Yeah.
Like, just saying.
He was good back then. I mean, back then he was really good.
Kimbrel was a good closer when he was with the Braves and then, the Red Sox. Like, he was a good closer, man.
In terms of manager, let me just throw a name out there, and we can finish off with this as our final thought. I know the Yankees won't do it. There's zero chance. There's a better chance of me or you managing than this happening. Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez.
Ooh.
The guy knows baseball. He's a good communicator. He wants to win. He wants to reestablish his name. He knows baseball inside and out. The guy is a baseball fanatic. I think he'd be a freaking fantastic manager.
I don't hate it. I know the Yankees wouldn't do it, but I do not hate that. I think he'd be a really good manager.
Lou Rom says Jeter should buy the team and fix it. Jeter doesn't have enough money to buy the team. I think he spent it all on the Marlins. And, And
also, I don't think Jeter has great player doesn't necessarily translate to great executive. There's only been one guy to do it. It's Jerry West.
Yeah, that's a good point. Colin Raymond says Paul O'Neill. I think Paul O'Neill would be a great manager too, but here's the issue with Paul O'Neill. He doesn't want to leave his hometown. Like him and Neville are like, those high school sweethearts that like they meet and they get married really young and then they die together like a day apart when they're 105. That's who he is. And he doesn't want to leave her for, 6 months of the year. And also, have you seen how jacked he was? They posted a picture.
Yeah,
of man, dude, freaking his. I don't know if he's doing roids or whatever.
Let's have him suit up. Honestly, but you know what? At this point, with all the iPad nerds in the dugout, let's just have an AI as the manager. I mean, frankly, I don't really. What's the difference? But yeah, A-Rod. I like the A-Rod because there is feel to the game with him, and the Yankees have really. I think they've gotten a little bit better with that this year versus last year, but they've definitely lost the feel of the game. I keep seeing Donnie Baseball. That would have happened by now if they were going to do it. They had chances. They've had plenty of chances to do it. I think Brian Cashman was like, I don't want to be the guy to fire Donnie Baseball. I kind of understand that sentiment, but they would have done it by now if he was going to do it. Jorge Posada, that's interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Yep. I'd be interested in that one.
Again, first time manager, never been a coach. Like that gives me pause. But the man's a winner, and he doesn't take any crap. You're not gonna loaf under Jorge Posada.
Yeah, come over here. I'm gonna pee on your hands. You had a bad game. So.
For those of you who don't understand that reference, look it up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Terrence Kem out west joining us once again. Day off for the Yankees tomorrow. Call in for the voicemail show 718-899-1068, and I'll see you after the game on Tuesday night. Yankees drop a tough one. Hey everybody, we are on a mission for 50,000 subscribers on this channel by the end of the season. When we get there, we're going to give away some cool prizes. We're going to give away an official Yankees pinstripe jersey of your choice, 4 tickets to a Yankees game, plus some NYY Recaps merch. It takes one click and it's free. So if you watch every video, double check that you are subscribed. If you love the podcast, subscribe. Heck, even if you hate the podcast, hate me, hate the Yankees, hate my cat, who cares? Subscribe anyway so somebody can win these prizes. And we'll see you next time. Ball game over.